niggas, we doing the most. Grabs on the table, yeah, I been gone. At the base and shorty, she trumping it over. Keep steady, I told him I'm on one. Why you tryna make me?
Do you enjoy fast-paced gameplay, or even consider yourself cool and maybe even old enough to be in the height of the Roblox Doors era? And I introduce to you Grace, made by the Far-Right View, is a fast-paced door-style game where you have to beat each level in a set amount given time. This game is easy to pick up, but not so easy to put down. Once you learn, it's like you learn how to ride a bike. The mechanics of the game are simple. You load in, and you face troubles, so under a set time limit, and you don't really know where you're going, but it's fine, you'll figure it out along the way. And I suggest playing with friends. It's kind of sad. You can meet friends through the 3 game modes they offer: Zombies, Magic Mode, and Classic Game.
Hello and welcome to the CONNetwork. We're right underway with kickoff as the Jacks start off on possession first. And it is a must-win for the Jacks if they want to keep their division hopes alive. So definitely more urgency for the home team than the away one. Blazing still on a huge win streak as the first play of the game goes out of bounds for a 10-yard gain. Nice pickup there by Wrangler. He's been one of the more dominating offenses of the past few seasons. Slides out of bounds there. There might be an issue with the chat shout. And dealing with stopping chat shout players is a bit of a challenge, honestly. And it takes quite a bit of getting used to, as Blazing has not had to do it that much, so you can't really put it on him, as that's second down for Wrangler. Operating a heavy, quick offense. Back and forth to the 3rd and inches as he's down to the 1-yard line. 30 seconds in and he's already knocking on the door. There he is. Touchdown, Jamestown. First of the game. And as the extra point there. We can go through, it's good. And as for statistics, well, Wrangler's been having himself quite a season. In 6 games, 2,049 yards, hitting the 2K club. Meanwhile, his opponent, Konopolis, who's also played the same amount of games, only 1,844 yards, but Ari with 1,486 in only 4 games. So he's here too, as he is actually here. So top 3 in yards is more of a race than you think it is. As Blazing, as for his yards, Blazing's never been a huge stat player, never dominating on the stat sheet, but that doesn't really matter when you win a lot, does it? I mean, would you rather be a Tom Brady or a Peyton Manning? As I don't believe anybody came in contact with that. Out of all those attempts to go get the ball, and, you know, even Jamestown having a shot to down that rolled out at the 20. And Blazing gets a good gain. for his first routing out of bounds there. Stop the clock for a little bit. And as I was going to say, he's consistent enough to get the win. And that's sort of, even if you're having a great season, as that's a brilliant run there. Past midfield, gets out of bounds. A little bit of a lag break. As Jamestown wearing their white uniform today. Pre-snap motion is legal, but some players choose not to do it because they just don't feel comfortable doing it. As for Ari, practicing good throws. And here in Jamestown, big run for the first down, then a break in the action, and we're back. First down for Montreal. Oh, gets a short gain stop there. You knew a stop would happen sooner or later. Jamestown does have a good defense too, however. They might need to step it up here if they want to win the division. Another gain to the right for a short gain. This time a little bit along the sidelines. Third down. Just any sort of reasonable gain would prevent a need for a fake field goal here. Wrangler could force a stop though. And he does get him stopped before, or not before, 4th and 5. As he sneaks through for the first down. Oh, wait a second. As it looks like he's ahead. And after a close call, great tip by Wrangler, great stop. That is still a first down. And that would only be the second turnover forced on Blazing this season. First one was in garbage time by the Express. Of course, but who counts that? But a tricky situation for the Montreal offense as they get used to this chat shout situation as rolls out to the left. In for the touchdown. Montreal to tie up the game already. Choosing not to do any pre-snap motion, calling it unsportsmanlike. Oh, but he did a little pre-snap movement there. Oh, Wrangler was going right for the meat of it. Blazing snuck by him, and on 1 point, that's essentially all you can do, as it's such a short distance to defend it that, you know, you get nothing to lose by just trying to go all in on one side. But it is very risky due to the probability for going offsides too, especially with chat shout. And usually something like chat shout would be a great equalizer in how difficult it is for both teams, but I think Wrangler has a sort of advantage here, and not an illegal one. I think he just is more used to it, as that one will fly out of the end zone up to the 30. Another start at the 30-yard line. 70 yards on the day so far. As for Blazing, it's 80. And sometimes your yard count depends on where you've started and how long of a drive you had to accomplish, as almost out of the hash marks for that one. Not quite. Stray ball flies through. Second down. Needs to get a gain here. It'll get stopped. Ball carrying arm was behind. Third down. Can he get up to midfield here? Yes, he can. Charges through. Last play of the first quarter. Can't stop him. Second quarter now. As he goes out of bounds there. Good game before he goes out. And he loves to sidestep along the sideline, and there it is again. For a third and 8. And it's a little hard to stop him. As he rolls to the right. Pylon pusher in for the touchdown. Jacks take the lead. Minute 50. And you can tell this is going to be a long game with how good these teams are and how competitive it is. And that drive goes down as only 32 seconds. Much longer than his last one. Or much shorter than his last one. And here's the kickoff to Blazing. And the kick is going to be way up. Out, bringing Blazing up to the 30 for the first down for Montreal. Sweeps to the left, gets tipped back. Falls like timber. There for a 5-yard gain, 2nd and 20. And this defense is not one to take lightly. However, teams have been able to take advantage throughout the season, and you know, especially now that you have Wrangler at his best and he has an advantage, it is going to be a little difficult, but Blazing can manage it as he's got a time waste for a 4th down. As last night was supposed to be streamed, however, due to issues, almost ran out the clock there. And a good set of downs there in terms of wasting out time. That was brilliant by Blazing. And Wrangler's going to have to dig into his timeouts. I think he still will have time left, judging by how these AFA games usually go. I mean, you can't waste all the time, especially with a decrease of 2 seconds on the play clock. And a shout out to Dingus, who, for the Stingrays, won a game last night. A tense rivalry game versus the Thunder Bay Wolves, who for some reason are in the South. And didn't look like he was ready there. 4th down. And he might try to run this one down to the 30-second warning. Thirty-second warning here in Jamestown. As he gets the 1st down and more. Down. Could have ran that one all the way home, but, you know, for obvious time saving or time wasting purposes, as that will wear off 3 seconds off the clock. As he gets a solid gain there. That's going to bring up 2nd down quite a few yards. He's not going to use a timeout there. He's at 13 seconds. He uses a timeout. And it's 2nd down. So at most, he'll probably have time to get a field goal shot off. As he calls the... Blazing calls the timeout. Both teams at 2 timeouts now. 3rd down. 3rd down for Quebec. As he gets out of bounds, 4 seconds left. And he's got to punch this one in here. Can he waste out all the time? Touchdown, Montreal. Great drive for time management. Wrangler still has 2 seconds left. You know, I said he'd still have time for a field goal. That's exactly the case. And, you know, he does have timeouts left, but really, can you get a 1-second runoff for a noticeable gain? I'd say it's not worth the risk there. As I have realized, I never changed the quarter marker. So that's on me here. 2 seconds left. Back to Jamestown ball. And it is sort of a must win if he wants to be the first seed and not the third. And pay a visit to Miami or St. Peter or Thunder Bay. And so if he wants that home field advantage, it starts with winning here today. Then the Express have to lose out all of their next games. Or both of their next 2 games. Both teams are at 3-2. Well, no. They were at 3-2 headed into that crucial matchup last night. However, the Express pulled out the win for the season sweep. And, you know, it's a do or die if you don't want to be the 3rd seed. And if you want your playoff picture to be certain. And goalpost defense optional here. Might not take it. And this park is one of the more easily defendable in the AFA in terms of goalpost. An 80-yard field goal try for the lead before halftime. Hesitating. Waiting. And with a man up top, it's going to be almost impossible to make this kick. But can he make it? The 80-yarder. More hesitation. Oh, and he's going to run. This will be the last play of the half. Maybe a stat pad. Oh, almost gets past him. The 68-yard gain. And so he doesn't get any points out of that. But he does get more yards out of that. And so now Blazing can take a comfortable full touchdown lead here. And if I were him, I would have just gone for the field goal because, I mean, even if you made it past him, he can still catch up to you. And it's a 1 in 100 chance that you get enough phases to get past him. A 1 in 1,000 chance that Blazing actually, he just makes a dumb mistake and lets that up. I mean, that's achievable from 20 yards. We saw Dingus do something like that. From 20, as that's a good kick. Down to the 5, making that up. Fresh half, tie game. It's like we're entering a new game. No field goal attempt on that last one as he's got a big gain. And he's time wasting. He is time wasting. It is the start of the second half and you're time wasting. As here's 2nd and 5. Already at the 25. Usually when teams are in that range, they're starting to worry about having a punt maybe. But not Blazing as he's going back and forth, time wasting, hovering around the 27. Will he cross? And I mean, what are we doing? It is the 3rd quarter. As here's 3rd down. And this might be the longest set of downs ever. As he's finally got across for the 1st down. Minute 9. So he wasted just about 51 seconds on that set of downs. And he gets another set of phases up to near midfield, the 48-yard line. And he's got to get back. There he goes. Second down already. 2 big gains so far. Almost winds down the play clock to 0. Gets the phase. And the first down. Down to the 20. 15, 10. Another huge gain for Blazing, making up that lost time. Down to the 7-yard line of Jamestown. As he gets in the end zone. And I think he's trying for another play. He could have... I think he is trying for another play there. Here's second down. Accidentally went forwards there. 34 seconds left in the third quarter. And that's going to be a touchdown. Wait a second. It clipped across. Touchdown. And another just barely touchdown by Montreal. Second time it's happened this game as he gets in for the 1 point. No doubt about that. .32 seconds left in the quarter here in Jamestown. Down by 7 now after the attempt to run a fake field goal. 80 yards all the way home. Couldn't quite get there. And I think it's more if he knows he's top of the yards race. And even if you go out, you might as well dominate the stat sheet as that rolls out. Didn't jump for it. Maybe that would have helped him tremendously there for his first possession of the second half. Down by 7. Definitely achievable with his kind of offense that there could be a tie here going into overtime. But then again, it depends on how he manages the clock as he gets out of bounds again. Not before he touches that a little early, though. Third down. Rolls out to the left again. Doesn't get quite there for the fourth down. Gets across. First down, Jamestown past midfield. Not even going to try to tip him there. As he sweeps to his left, doesn't get out of bounds in time. And he gets out of bounds. And I think both teams have a tendency of acting like it's the fourth quarter. As you see Blazing with a time waste, then Wrangler having drives as fast as possible. As that will count as a play in the fourth quarter. And a little bit of a break to reset the clock there. As 2 seconds will be brought off the clock to account for that play. Letting time run a little. Here's second down. Charges on through. Third down. His arm was up. That's going to be a touchdown. Closer to tying this one up. But it depends on how you do your defense. Blazing could make a score immediately. He could make a score in 37 hours. You know, I think Wrangler could force Blazing to reconsider his time options. But then again, it sort of does also matter on Blazing's part. I think there are some ways both teams could manipulate each other time-wise here, as the fourth quarter is always precarious in every single AFA game. It's always a matter of time management. That's usually whoever comes at the victor. As a good kick by Wrangler in the time-saving department. as at least 10 seconds will be wasted here. And I'd go for the tackle. I would go for the go for the tackle. And Blazing was talking about unsportsmanlike plays. Just go for the touchdown. If it is actually a return, then go for the touchdown. And we'll review that. And although Blazing axed it, he did touch it. Oh, he's going for the redo. Or not? 3 seconds were put off the clock there. There'll be 3 free seconds for Montreal unless he wants to redo it, and he'll try to redo it. And now Blazing knows where to go. This is usually the angle whenever you're trying to save time. It is essentially the equivalent of an onside without hunt-siding. And you've got to use your timeouts wisely. You've got to, as that's going to be a redo, you just have to, be wise in how you use your time management here. As a loss here means Jamestown either ends the season with a losing record or a 500 record. As it is essentially do or die. If you lose, you could get the 3rd seed or you could get no seed at all. And then again, even if you do win both games, including this tough one here, you have to count on the Express losing both of their remaining games, which is... It could happen. Not saying it will, but it could. As finally the kickoff. That's going to be a good kick up to near the 50. I think that's exactly what he wanted. Minute 48, 3 free seconds on the clock there. We won't stop the clock for another 3 seconds once this play is going. Tries to juke him out there. Gets a sizable gain. Looks like his arm is forwards, which puts him up due to ball placement. 12-yard gain. And multiple times he's come close to getting a delay. And another play that's going to drag on for a while. Charges on through for the 4th down. As he gets the first, gets out of bounds with 54 seconds left. And it's 1st and goal now. So definitely not a terrible situation. I think the decision to kick to the 49 was a great idea by Wrangler. One of the better we've seen this game from either team. As the quick stop there. 2nd and goal, 25 yards to go. And he gets stopped again. 3rd down. He's going to need a big gain here. At 38 seconds, he calls a timeout. And he does have the 30-second warning to use to his advantage. 3rd down, 2 timeouts remaining. It is not over for the Jacks. 4th down. And we're going to review the spot, as that's highly important. As on 4th down, he has quite a ways to go, and this is one of those rare times to see Blazing having to call a fake field goal. As a tremendous stand on defense by the Jamestown Jacks forces Montreal to a 4th and 8. 4th and goal. Can he convert on the fake field goal? He's only the half. To keep it a lead, trying to get him off sides here. And he does get in. Touchdown, Montreal. Successful fake field goal. Time will run out 3 seconds. And a quick play by Blazing means that Wrangler still has time. He's done this before in big games where he's come up big. And so he has 2 timeouts. He has a 30-second warning, so he essentially gets a free play before then. You know, it's not over, as he pulled off a 32-second drive, and definitely nowhere near as pressure of a time. And I think the main thing that got him to this point of, I mean, he's under pressure. He's down by 7, obviously, with 31 seconds to go. It is still a bit of pressure on him, but it's not as much pressure as a quick throw. Means that he can get a free playoff. And on my screen, at least, it went out at the 30. Last play before the 30-second warning. Oh, gets a good gain. His arms were up. Two timeouts left for the Jamestown Jacks, as if they can get a touchdown and prevent Montreal from having any time left on the clock. It is overtime, pending a good extra point. And, you know, still play hurry up here, as you never know with Blazing. As you're, can he convert? Time is running out. And he gets a free second there. A little bit of an issue with the clock there. 13 seconds. He still has 2 timeouts, so it is not over. But, you know, you thought he would have used a timeout there, but maybe he handles this perfectly in the end. "13 seconds on the clock. Whenever he gets ready, play will resume." As there he is. Free second due to a clock error. As I think he meant to call a timeout. As you saw him with the intent of calling a timeout, then he went over to the ref. That will be counted as a timeout. Only 1 remaining for Jamestown. 9 seconds on the clock. So you've got to hurry up here. You have 22 yards to go. As he might be using this timeout. 9.83. That is how much time is on the clock. He needs to get this to perfection. Second down. The two historic winning franchises of the AFA. The Jacks at 6 rings. Montreal at 10. These teams have faced off many times in the big game. The most recently, Bloxville 16 Wrangler pulled off his first big game win with an upset over Blazing to cap off a Cinderella run. That wouldn't turn out to be Cinderella's. He'd make it the following season.
Outside with my niggas, we doing the most. Grabs on the table, yeah, I been gone. At the base and shorty, she trumping it over. Keep steady, I told him I'm on one. Why you tryna make me?
And I mean, that's a good idea to make sure you're well prepared, using his timeout to take a breather and maybe work on some things, as he's got a beautiful game there. Just under 2 seconds on that play. 8 seconds left in the game. Third down. He did get out of bounds, so he can waste as much time as he wants here on that pre-snap. Gets the first down. Oh! Timeout at 5. And it looks like he was here before the tip. And good decision to call the timeout. And he's got out. Out of bounds. 3 seconds. Great drive so far by Wrangler. Some close calls. And here's where he scores. Unless Blazing can pull off a stop. And 2 seconds left now. Down to the goal line. 1 of 4, 2 of 4, 3 of 4, and I just take the touchdown. As a minimum of a second will take off on that play, and that's going to be a touchdown. So despite the pressure, Blazing does still have a second on the clock if he wants to go for a long field goal. But now, that might be overtime. 1 second for Blazing. Can he pull off a miracle here? Calls a fair catch. And in a high-pressure situation, let's pull up the race for Jamestown's division here, as he seems to be fighting with all his grit so far. And I mean, why wouldn't you? Division on the line. You know, he could still win. He could still win the North. As he's going to try to give it his all on this kickoff. As for the Express, they're 4-2. If they just win one game, or if Jamestown loses this one, or their next one, they clinch the division. As this one's going to go way up in the air. And looked like it went out at the 30. Oh, wait a second. Gonna check the review. It might have actually hit the roof. I think there's an argument for if it hit the roof or not. Did it change course at any point? It did! It hit the roof there. And if it wasn't for the roof, that probably would have just sailed out to the 30. As a redo on that kickoff. And remember, there is still overtime to play for. So it's not a tough situation for Blazing. It's just he has an opportunity to get a win here. With 1 second left, it's going to take one play. Calls the fair catch at the 30. Same as a touchback, and now he's going to go for the 80-yarder. Going to try to play goalpost defense here. Last play of regulation. Jamestown fighting between first and third seeds. This game could have huge impacts on the Liberty League playoffs. And maybe get Blazing to clinch the playoffs. Depending if the SAR plays games at all. But Blazing, the 80-yarder. Before overtime, tie game, 28-28. Two of the best teams in the league. Blazing on a hot win streak. As this one's going to be way up. And it's going to go nowhere. And we're headed to overtime here. Overtime here in Jamestown. As no doubt this is probably going to lag up the game. And this is the first game in the new old overtime, basically. And what it is it's basically the old AFA overtime, but just longer. And it will be a 3-minute quarter to decide this game. And if it's tied, then it will just be a tie. And the coin toss is essential here. And Ari Blazing calls tails. What's the call? It is heads. Jamestown win the toss. And he chooses to receive. And winning the coin toss might just be what Wrangler needs to win this game. As now he has a shot at winning here to upset the Giants in Montreal. As we head into this overtime period, the first one of the season. And winning the coin toss is such a huge part of overtime. And the reason that we switch back to the traditional overtime is to sort of just save time, as the college level overtime was just taking too much out of players' days, and that's sort of not what we want to do when games are starting to get longer and longer by the season. As here's 1st and 25, first play of overtime. As on 1st down, slides out of bounds, but not before he gets 10 yards here. And he gets another big gain, gets out of bounds there too. The first overtime under the new revision rules as he gets the 1st down there. Quick drive so far. Only 9 seconds and he's already got past midfield. And a short game before he goes out of bounds. Might have needed to push a little there. Got a little less than he bargained for. And another out of bounds play. And this isn't a bad move to make. I mean, there are reasons you want to do this, as 4th down. Already Blazing coming up with 2 big stops. And a fake field goal to keep his possession alive. If not, then Blazing could just kick a field goal and win it. Here's the fake. Oh, and he goes offsides! And looks like he's going to go for the 4th down. And nobody else really has that huge of an issue with Chashow, so I don't know what to say as he gets down to the 12. The obvious tip back there. As he gets the touchdown there. Quick drive. 23 seconds. Jamestown take the lead. And he's got the extra point. Down by 7. They need a touchdown to respond. As the kick down deep. He's going to take this at the 5. Gets up to the 25. Great return there by Blazing. Gets tipped forwards too. 2 minutes, 32 seconds left in overtime. Oh, and a stop! But the ball placement brings him forwards. Only 5 yards on the play. 2nd and 20. Ooh, another out of bounds there, this time by Blazing. 3rd down for Montreal. Gets past midfield. And a tip rule caused setback. Means it's 4th and long. Can he convert? If he fails, Jamestown wins. And he's got past. 1st down, Montreal. Both teams had to pull out the field goal unit so far. Only one of them actually had to use it. As the ball placement does bring him forwards here for 2nd down. Maybe trying to lock in on his runs this time. And a minute through overtime, slides out of bounds at exactly 2 minutes. Oh, and fourth down! Gets tipped back again. If he gets a stop here, it's game, but he charges forwards for the first down. Tip brings him back. First and goal at the 7-yard line. Here's Blazing. Quick drives by both players, especially by Wrangler, though. But this one is probably going to round out to be a little quick, too. Even if he tries to time waste here. Which not a lot of teams would go for. And not Blazing. As he gets the touchdown. Montreal survives. Next score wins. Here in overtime. If he can get the extra point. That is if, because both teams a combined 9-9 so far. Can he make it 10-10? And extra points in overtime is usually why people lose. And there will be a review. It was close. Oh, yeah. Wait a second. Oh, and that's crucial. Wait. He did cross. And it's not... I mean, you spiked forwards. And he can still kick a field goal. Trying to get his yards back. As a stray ball flies onto the field. And, you know, I'm trying to give you a chance here. I'm trying to give you the benefit of the doubt. I think you ought to take it. As 34-35. The kicked extra point. And that's game. Jamestown stay alive in the playoff push. An unbelievable overtime win. Coming off an extra point penalty. And Wrangler holds on in the division. The Jacks get a win against Montreal to move to 4-3. And I believe this clinches then the playoffs. We might have to see. And that's all from Jamestown. Until next time.